about get the precept here. This is the precept I was looking for. There's also one in Luke. So what I'll do is I will use the Blue Letter Bible and type in Matthew chapter 16. That is what I'm looking for, you know? And I'll get the one in Luke because it was a little bit different than the rest. And 25. That's why I was going to the Luke one, but it is what it is. Sometimes we falter. I give it not perfect. Sometimes we may forget the precepts that we're looking for. Cross reference. I will read this too, but cross reference it. Luke 17 and 33. I said Luke 17 and what? What did I say? Luke 17 and 3. My bad. You see? So I was literally, I was supposed to be 33, but I said 3. So my bad for that. Salakia. So let's go into it. Let's read this one first, and we'll go into it as well, which is the same thing basically. And it goes on to say, Matthew 16 verse 25, it says, "For whosoever shall save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall find it." Let's get into the Luke now. The Luke 17 and 33. Why I say 3? I don't know. 33. This is precept here. "Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it." And we know many people, when they get a fear factor or a fear factor in them concerning losing certain features and comfort, they are going to run to take that chip, even if it means saving their own lives. Because look, the Neuralink at this point has been used to cure things like blindness and lupus and other ailments, as mentioned. So what you think is going to happen in the near future when this digital system is taking full effect? Let's be real. There are going to be jakes that are going to subdue themselves unto their master Esau Edom, and partake of these events via the chip, the RFID, the mark of the beast. And those same people have a judgment to receive, because it is in Revelation chapter 14 verses 9 and 10, dealing with the judgments going to come to pass for those who take it, especially of our people. So let's read. Let's continue. "Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it." You understand? So you people who are willing and wanting to live in a digital world because it's much easier, they get things done, it's a easier way of living, you are going to lose your very life. And for those who may not sacrifice for Yahweh Shemashah, you know what? Nothing is, I don't care how comfortable I'm going to be in that digital system. I live in for Yahweh Shemashah. So I'm not going to partake in that, because I do not want the vengeance of Yahweh Shemashah against me. I don't want to anger my father. I don't want to disappoint him. So I would rather not take that RFID chip. You know where I'm coming from? And if it means that I have to live a harsh life because of it, it's not a problem. See? Whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. That's the point of it, right there. Luke 17 and verses 33. So there are going to be people that are going to subside to the ways of Esau Edom and take that mark to either get the bag or to live a nice life in their digital system without understanding the penalties and the punishments for their wicked ways. They rather put aside Yahweh Shemir Shai, understand, and to live for the purpose of the enemy, which they themselves becomes an enemy of Yahweh Shemashah because of their actions. I want to get the next precept. So let me look into. So let me get this precept, same precept, similar, but it adds more to it again. Mark chapter 8 and verse 35. It says, "For whosoever shall save his life shall lose it," like we read, "but whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospels, the same shall save it." What the scripture says, "Strive for this truth even unto death, and Yahweh B'Shem Yoshai shall fight for thee. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." So are you built up proper and furnished in this truth, to be able in that day to not buck at the knee and take the RFID chip? Are you going to remove yourself from that system and live a harshish life? Maybe even be hunted down and unalive? That's the real question. Because these things are going to come to pass. So again, let's read it again. Whosoever shall save his life shall lose it. Because that RFID has a very, very harsh side effect. Aside from the judgments of Yahweh Shem Shai, it has a harsh side effect. So I think we can go in that as well after. But let me read this quick. It says, but whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and for the gospel's, the same shall save it. NLT. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake and for the sake of the good news, you will save it. And this is only dealing with who? The elect, because they are the ones that are not going to buck at the knee. They are the one that is standing so stiffly for the name of Yahweh Shem Shai and for the sound doctrine. So when push comes to shove, when the time is right, and then you would know that you are amongst the elect, or you were one. But in that day, with that harsh, let me get a precept, because Scripture tells you what chapter 3 verse 10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, it says, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And we know these policies has been stretching forth throughout the earth. So when that implementation comes to pass and it becomes mandatory, yes, the world is going to be partaking of it. So the question is, are you going to be a part of the elect? Is Yahweh Shem Shai going to keep you from the hour of that temptation in that day? Or are you going to buck at the knee? The real question is, are you going to gird up your loins like a man and say, enough is enough? I'm not doing this, whether it means that or not? Because it's only for the elect at the end of the day, for the saints. Let's be real. You have to be real with yourself now. And this is why we are out here now pushing this doctrine, pushing this truth. Which should I say? Let's go into Ezekiel before you continue. 3 and verse 17. Straight to the point. This is why we are pushing all this this information. It's should say what? Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. Who are we getting warning from? Yahweh Shem Shai. Because this right here, if you are foolish enough to disobey from what is being brought out here and not stay away from all this RFID and so on and so forth until the end, and that day comes where you are tempted by Yahweh Shem Shai, you are deserving of the judgment that he gives you. And they can't call and say it's unfair because you had enough time to understand. You would hear the men crying and sighing and the corners of the streets telling you what these things are with the billboards and the pictures, and you ignore it. Instead of you choose to look into it, you ignore it. So what you feel is going to happen in that day, if you're not built up in the spirit, if you're not ready for the change that is to come, we are to prepare ourselves now, because it's about to get worse. And if we aren't built up in the truth amongst our brethren, especially amongst our brethren, which is our family in Yahweh Shem Shai, what do you think is going to happen in that day? There are going to be weak men that might cause the group to stumble. Let me read, because it's like this. You have a bunch, I want to give a proper example. If you have have a bunch, like I could give you this example. You have a bunch of twigs, bolt tied together. If you have a few broken or weak twigs in the middle of it, wouldn't it be easy to break when you try to snap it? Because I have tried to snap twigs before. Not twigs, well, sticks. And because of its strength, it couldn't bend. But there are some where the inside of these twigs are weak. If you understand where I'm coming from. And so as you bend it, it breaks. And when it breaks, all of them breaks. So you don't want to have weak men amongst you in days like that, because they might be even the ones to persuade you into taking that same RFID that we so-called warned each other about. This is why it is important to bring out these information. Let me get a precept. Like going to the second Ezra, chapter 9 and verses 1 to 2, straight to the point. Verses 2 exact, but it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest, which we are seeing right now, part of the signs pass. Example, the minister of England is literally announcing that he is at the end of his term is going to make, or in his term he's going to make digital IDs mandatory, and if you do not have one, you will not have access to work. If this isn't such a big sign, I don't know what is. So it says, which I have told thee before, that shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. You understand what I'm saying now? This is exactly what's going to happen. So we are to be prepared. Now is the time to fast, pray. We have Day of Atonement coming. For those brothers that may be off in the spirit, or may have done things contrary, or may not have been pleased with their performance in the faith, now is your time. Now is the time to get yourself right. Let me not stray. The lesson is the mark of the beast. So Salakia, right? Salakia. Now you get next precept. Because we know the elect is not going to be phased at something like this. Right? And there's a precept I have in mind, like I have right here. It says, 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verses 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So these people, right, the World Economic Forum and the elites already know that we are aware of their plans. And I think that at this point they understand that Yahweh Shem Shai is continually revealing his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. So we are going to be a time where our warning is going to be so abrupt, so sudden, that if we don't take action, it might be too late. But what the scripture says, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So we are not going to be fooled by his trickeries. But for those who want to partake of said mark to please their minds and way of living, this is your portion. Let's get a precept. Revelation chapter 14 and verses 9 and 10. Again, straight to the point. Alright, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying, if any man worship with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of power, which is poured out without mixture into a cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beasts and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of power and have faith of Yahushua HaMashiach. This is what we have to understand. You're taking this thing, there's judgments behind it. I think there's another precept to add to that, I believe. Let's read that. It says what? And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and a grievous sore. And again, for those who don't know what this is, we'll go into it in the NLT. A grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. And for those who don't know what triggers and what activates the RFID and keep it flowing is radiation. What does radiation do to someone's body if it's inside them? This is biology and biowarfare, and to be exact, common sense. It's called malignant sores, because I've did lessons on malignant sores before. One of the key points of malignant sores, well, for those who don't know, malignant sores is cancerous sores, is radiation in the particular area. So when you have the RFID in your hand, or on the Neuralink in your head, thinking shit sweet, and Yahweh Shemir Shai sent his angels, and they pour out what? And pour out his vial upon the earth, and there fell noisome sores and grievous sores upon the men which take the mark of the beast. When they started to get these big sores all over the hand, to which is not going away, it's getting worse, then they would understand the mistake they have made. And upon them who worshipped his image. So, what you feel is going to happen? It's common sense. You have a chip in you that is working 24/7. What source of power does it use? That's what you have to understand. It's called 4G or 5G radiation. Either or. It passes right through your body tissues and activates the chip. That's what it's there for. The two does the same thing. One is just a higher level of radiation than the next. But they both are leading causes of cancer. And you could quote me on this. So when these things are coming, NLT, it says so the first angel left the temple and poured out his bowl on the earth, and horrible malignant sores broke out on everyone who had the mark of the beast and who worshipped the image. Let's get that. I want to get the until the near so you could see for malignant sores. If I don't have it here, I will go and get it myself. I did lessons on this, I'm telling you. If they didn't have what I'm looking for, like I said, I'll go in and get it. So, perfect. Let me go and get it. Let me pause. Right here. Yes. Malignant sores are signs of cancer. More specifically, a malignant wound is a cancerous lesion on the skin that results from malignant cells either regenerating as a primary skin cancer or spreading metastasizing Select, if pronunciation, to the skin from a different part of the body. These cancerous cells invade the skin and its vessels, causing tissue death. Causing tissue death, and can prevent as open sores, cavities, skin bumps, or irregular growth. And can present these things. So you're seeing right here, by itself, what the malignant source is. So when these wicked people, especially if our people, begin to take these chip, and after a while they start to receive the punishment of Yahweh Shimon Shai, which is the cancerous lumps on the skin and the specific area that they have the chip or the link. It begins to spread, because for those who haven't seen a man or somebody with malignant sores on the hand, it starts off one area and it spreads coming down until it reaches, I believe, his elbow. It stops at his elbow. And higher up, where there are more muscle fibers, it begins to swell. So the hand itself, higher up, begins to become like a balloon. This is when you know you have malignant sores, which is cancerous sores, and it's deep-rooted. We have to understand that. I did lessons on these things. So you see how it ties in together. Now you understand the penalties in which what is going to take place when you take that chip to make your life better. This is why I read Mark chapter 8 and verse 35 and Luke 17 and verse 33. Let's read one more time before we close out, right? Because it's a very important part to what? To keeping us in order. Always remember this precept. In everything that you do, if your nose is going to cross Yahweh Shimon Shai, remember this precept. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel's, the same shall save it. And how are we going to save it? By not taking this mark. Because Yahweh Shimon Shai is either going to fight for us and going to deliver us from our enemies, or if we be unalive, we have waited for us a crown of life in the kingdom of heaven. So either way, either or, we still good. All we have to do is persevere and not take it. Build we spirit up strong enough that Yahweh Shimon Shai could what? Remove us from that path. Keep us from the hour of temptation, which is going to be that. It's going to be very hard, especially for those who have children and wives and families. To provide for them, to the thought of seeing your children starving in hunger and thirst, because what? You make a decision not to take the chip, and you are exiled from the land and from the resources of the country. It's going to be a hard thing to see, a hard pill to swallow, but we are to prepare ourselves. As hard as it is, you have to make a decision. Because there's no excuse, oh, I wanted to make sure my family was good. No. There's no excuse in that. Sorry. There's only judgment. And it's judgment upon judgment. So not only are you going to receive cancerous sores, that's going to be plaguing you, painful, till you almost be unalive. Then you also have the judgment written of Yahweh Shimon Shai, the ICBMs. It's going to rain hell, and you are going to be part of that fire. Come on. Do you want that? Let me be real. Do you want to go through that fire, or do you want to stay away from these things? It's something good not to take the chip, and for those who don't want to believe, but later on, when they realize it's too late, like they have before. Example, don't take the COVID shot. It's deadly. Don't take the shot. It's a dead shot. It's going to unalive you. It's not going to be the same. Many people, when I share this information, many people have told me, you don't know what you're talking about. Stop talking shit. By the way, time when I'm thinking about, I like to believe in conspiracy theories. Many people have said the exact same thing to me. And now look at them. Majority of them who are told not to take it have passed unalived by the exact same injection. Even those who take it and they start to get different changes in their body, hear them now. Well, I know it's not the injection, but I mean, since I take it, I start to feel like this, but it's not the injection. There are people literally saying that. Since they take it, they're feeling different, but they don't think it's the injection. Before a trip, remember the lesson. All right. So there's judgment behind what's going to when you take that same RFID. So please, the mark of the beast, do not partake. Do not partake. The RFID, do not take it. Don't let nobody persuade you to put it in your hand, nor let anybody persuade you to put it in your head. Even China has what? Speed of the process of the brain chip, what they call the Neuralink. They have speed up the process to the point where they make it a lot more smaller and a lot more efficient. This was the information is this year itself, earlier this year. So they are literally working in cahoot together to bring this system to come to pass. A fully digital system where they can see and have full control over each and every one of us. That's what they desire. They no longer desire for just one. They desire to have control over all. So I hope this information is clear and edifying. Do not take the RFID chip. Do not take the Neuralink. Keep yourself away from these things because there are judgments behind it. And I think I will do the next lesson on malignant source again, just for the fact of it, so you can understand how serious this is. Maybe people won't understand, but one of the roots of malignant source is radiation. So, Shalom Yasharala, Kal Halalyam Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Makakodash. We get double honor to the apostles and prophets and elders of James Camp, but on us great wisdom for the bring forward the 100% truth that I've been currently edified under. Shalom to the elect, the tabernacle of David, and I am Brother Zaria saying to you, Shalom. Short and sweet.